or whether it was a General Assembly last summer, and having the chance to move with our committee through discussions, for example, on the Belhar Confession, where it was clear that folks were of very divergent viewpoints. But it was so important for each to have space and time to speak and to share, and for each voice to be valued in a way that changed the final product that was passed by GA. Now, there's a really wonderful Lao folktale about rabbits that have no good feelings for snails. And the rabbits are sure that they are most superior to snails. They're so much faster, they're much, much bigger, and they can accomplish so much beyond what any snail can do. And in this Lao folktale, they're all gathered to have a race. The snail actually challenges the rabbit to a race around the pond. The rabbit thinks that'll be a cinch, and so the rabbit bolts off, and around the first corner he hears a snail's voice, and he keeps going, sure that he will lose him, and at the halfway point he hears a snail again, and he keeps going, and near the finish line he's certain that he's lost him by now. And when he gets to the finish line, there is a snail waiting that has already crossed. Because, of course, in the rabbit's mind, he never had imagined that a group of snails could have become so well coordinated, so unified as a team, that they could have beat him by being positioned at different places around the race. I hope we can have the wisdom of the snails as a Presbyterian, as a church. And I think definitely that it's near this kind of point where unity becomes strongly related to seeking for purity. Because with a lack of unity, what instead fills in the space, I think, is a dominance of pride and a sense of competition and separateness and criticism. And so, for example, we grow community gardens here at Firm, and we will soon be growing the newest one just behind the wall here out in our Firm field. Because we believe that we have seen that there can be some purity produced among the produce. And I say that because I think of the reality of our first community garden. Where the gardeners were having rocks thrown at them every day. And then they had children who one night after they had worked for months on the drip irrigation system walked down and cut with a little pair of scissors every single line. It totally disabled the garden. But what the gardeners did was determine that they were going to pick their vegetables, and they were going to cook their vegetables, and they were going to get some chickens and we call them not hens, but ducks, and cook 15 ducks on the grill, and they were going to invite those same neighbors to come over for a huge feast. They had about 300 people that day, and they fed them, and they gave away any extra vegetables they had. And they demonstrated and taught me a lot about how hospitality gets linked to with purity. And we see that in the James passage, I think. Because orphans and widows were normally those stripped not just of power, but pretty much stripped of their whole identity. And maybe they were ones who had rocks thrown at them too. So it seems that to be religious calls us into fighting back against both internal discrimination and to fight back, and sometimes it's within ourselves, about internal urges for retaliation. And that kind of fighting, I think, can help us refuse to be stained by whatever threatens to continue to pull us into defilements in our behavior.